Nearly a century back, Henry Ford suggested that it was a great thing that most Americans did not know how the money system worked, because if they did, there'd be a revolution by the next morning. Although a few decades have passed since Mr. Ford's statement, it seems to be as genuine as ever. Even though it was way back in the 1930s, this isn't to say that the thought of banking could be an awful omen. No, banks give us exceptionally useful services and have gotten to be a basic portion of our lives. Everyone needs to keep their cash where it is secure. And if it's secured, you likely do not need to put your money beneath, your sleeping pad. You too don't want to borrow a gap in your terrace to hide your money. The truth is that banks are cashing out big time, most times at the cost of the clueless public. But since the monetary institutions operate in complex and rigorous structures, a few abnormal homes are concealed from the prying eyes of the public. It doesn't matter which side of the coin you select, we're all in this together, one way or another, whether you're taking a loan, spending your cash, or sparing it. There are various ways that the banks make money off of you. The pitiful portion is merely that you don't know that you're being milked. The different pay sources that the banks appreciate might be one of the reasons bank stocks have gotten to be an investor's delight. Here are a few truths. Almost all the cash the banks do not need you to know. The 7 truths that are surrounded about banks. No one has told you that you're losing money every single year after you keep it in the bank. This is an approximate of the expenses that you simply pay, or investing, or that somebody's literally stealing your money in the bank. What it implies is that an item that you purchase with a 50 note nowadays would fetch marginally higher in about a year, and much more in 10 years. A long time. In the event that you're thinking that the money you've got in your account is safe, you would anticipate that the esteem remains constant over the years. That's not the case, or indeed grows bigger because of interest. Every speculator needs to keep up with inflation, but with most bank accounts on normal expansions within the US sits at about 2%. If your cash is within the bank, yields 0.05. What it implies is that you're losing up to $1.95 of the esteem of your cash each year. I'm not talking approximately the money you invested in a few budgetary stages to yield returns, or maybe I'm talking about, the cash that you have sitting out in the gear, the reserve funds, or your checking accounts. Now, before we continue, I want everybody to answer the question in the comments below. How much money do you think you've lost by putting your money in the bank over the years? While you're at it, do us a favor, hit the like button, sub button, and bell button. Let's continue. Number 2, banks win from your card transactions. First time you swipe your credit card or charge your card and make purchases, banks make cash through handling fees. You may not know this since you were only charged for your actual purchase, but the dealer pays the expenses for the merchant, might have too included the fees within the deals. Let's pretend you made a purchase of anything and the cost was $700. You paid with your card. If the vendor is charged 3% on each installment made with the payment card, that implies a whopping $21 goes to the bank. The bank gets this cash fare for providing the machines and the convenience for payment. Do you think the shipper will be glad to have $21 taken off of the profit? You're the one paying this expense, and I'll show you how. Let's say the thing was assumed to sell at $680. The commerce proprietor must have raised the price to $700. The extra $20 will cover the deduction that will go to the bank for the card transaction. That is taking into consideration that most people pay with their cards all the time. The banks make so much money through your credit card. That's the reason the banks offer so many motivating forces for you to sign up for a credit card. Number 3, what you likely do not know is that the interest rates on your card can be raised at any time. The normal interest rate on a credit card is 17%, but your bank can choose to give an increase to possibly 18 or 19%. They can do this after serving you a 15 to 30 days notice. Most people overlook them, so the banks get absent with this while feeding fat on your ignorance. Now, on the off chance that you've had compound credit card interest, it basically proceeds to accumulate. This will inevitably work negatively against you. If you do not pay off these debts, you might be on your way to a difficult place financially. I'm not suggesting that the thought of a credit card is awful in itself. No, the credit card can be a valuable service that gives convenience for most of us. It's become a big portion of our daily lives. But you have to be careful not to accumulate debts that will be perilous demise of your finances. Be sure to pay off your debts every single month. Your cash within the bank isn't physical. You seem to have tons of cash within the bank, but these are just figures and electronic records. The bank utilizes your cash to do business. They provide out this cash within the shape of business cards, car advances, or mortgages. You think your cash is in the bank, but in reality, your cash is in other places, making extra cash for the bank. This reality came to play in 2008 during the uproar of individuals that went to banks demanding to pull back their money. But the banks had no cash to pay everyone. The banks seem to have that sum in liquidity, but within the occasion of a crisis when everybody makes a run for their money, the physical cash will not be there. This comes as a result of an arrangement that's called fractional savings. This policy allows your bank to loan out your money to those who require them within the frame of the loans and mortgages. Not all your cash is secured by insurance. Also, the government is there ready to step in case anything goes wrong. So in the event that you've got cash within the bank, feel free to go to sleep with your two eyes closed. But, having cash within the bank is not like putting your cash in a box where you can get to it at any moment. Your cash is active, making cash not for you, but for your bank. As an individual, you can get to your cash at whatever point you want, but if everyone needs their cash at the same time, then no one gets it. Bankers are not your companions. I'm beyond any doubt, sometime recently now, you thought that they were your friends. They know you by your name, they frequently call you, chat with you, and appear to love and revere you. They keep in mind your birthdays and celebrate you on your anniversaries. But your snare truth is that these folks don't adore you. They're essentially playing out a well-rehearsed script, waiting on the correct time to strike. A banker friend of mine told me how he got to be good friends with the customer. He does all the things I mentioned earlier and wins their trust. He makes them feel he's on their side and not on the side of the bank. At some point, he talks them into taking a loan they didn't need. All they care about is the figures they get. They get targets from the directors and supervisors. If they do not meet these targets in record time, they lose their work. My friend told me how a few colleagues of his lost their jobs because they attempted to be honest. They cared about their clients and they appeared to be fair. They could not meet their targets. When the administration found out, they were shown the exit door. So don't believe the hype. Number 5, outside exchange expenses are another way that most banks make cash on their customers. Through outside exchange expenses, your financial institution will not tell you this, but when you travel outside the U.S. or whatever country you're from, making purchases along with your bank charge card, you will have extra charges on the card. Some time ago, another good friend of mine traveled and went through a vacation for 15 days outside the USA. When he returned, he was stunned when he opened up his bank account statement. He found an add up of about $105.05 in foreign transaction charges. Most banks won't unveil all of this to you, since in case you knew, you might dump them and go for other money options. Some credit card programs have coverage in a few nations exterior of the U.S. In this case, on the off chance that you utilize their services in the nations, they have coverage. There will be no extra charges on your purchase. But my friend didn't know this and wasn't a part of this program, so he got drained. Always check your accounts, and your bank account is a fundamental portion of your life. So do not be too lazy to check it regularly. A few covered up charges can be in your record, which you know nothing at any time. You see a charge that's not yours, be fast to report it to your bank. If you make a report inside a 90-day window, by law, your bank has 48 hours to return the cash into your account. Your bank doesn't like you, they may attempt to delay the method or try to get out of it. But adhere to your procedures because you're lawfully protected. Number 7, you're being observed. Banks keep track of all your budgetary activities. Banks are required by law to report any suspicious monetary action to the IRS. This approach was put into place to check shady bargains such as cash laundering. A deposit withdrawal that surpasses $10,000 is automatically reported to the IRS. If they were to review your account, the IRS would come up with inquiries demanding any clarification for such transactions. First, officials would like to know if you pay taxes to the store. Secondly, they would like to know if the transactions were lawfully carried out. Anything that you're doing with your cash, know that you're being observed. I have no doubt this knowledge might assist you. Remain clean and stay out of trouble. Check out these other videos we have on finance that will help you grow wealthy. That's it for this video. Let me know what you got out of it in the comments below. Hit that like button, sub button, and bell button, and we will see you tomorrow.